I walk the street we used to know by heart. The same old windows, the same evening rain. The little cafe still had our corner, but somehow it didn't feel the same. I passed the door where you once waited for me, under the light that made your face look gold. For the first time, I didn't stop and wonder what might have happened if we'd stayed that close. The city hadn't changed, the years had changed my eyes. I wasn't looking for the past anymore, I was learning to recognize my life. These are the places we became, the streets that taught us how to change. Every goodbye, every mistake, every beautiful thing we couldn't save. These are the places we became, the people we were still remain. I don't need to go back to who I was. I'm grateful for the road that brought me here again. There was a bench beneath the old chestnut trees, where we once talked until the morning came. I sat there for a while without remembering the exact sound of you saying my name. A passing train was moving through the distance, its windows glowing softly through the dusk. I used to think that leaving meant forgetting. Now I know that leaving can be trust. Some memories grow quieter, some finally let you breathe. Not everything we lose is meant to follow, not every ending needs another dream. These are the places we became, the streets that taught us how to change. Every goodbye, every mistake, every beautiful thing we couldn't save. These are the places we became, the people we were still remain. I don't need to go back to who I was. I'm grateful for the road that brought me here again. Maybe we were never meant to stay forever, maybe forever wasn't what we needed then. Some people enter like a sudden season and leave you different when the season ends. You taught me how to lose without disappearing, how to walk away and still be whole. And somewhere between the leaving and returning, I found a quieter version of my soul. These are the places we became, the streets that taught us how to change. Every heartbreak, every dream, every road that carried us away. These are the places we became, and I can finally call them home. I don't have to bring the past back with me, I can love the life I've grown into alone. The evening settled softly on the rooftops. The cafe lights were glowing through the rain. I turned the corner without looking backward. And for the first time, I didn't need to. The places stayed behind me, but they made me who I am. I woke before the city found its rhythm. The sky was pale behind the window glass. For once I wasn't counting all the reasons to turn around and look into the past. I made some coffee, opened up the curtains, let the morning fill the room with gold. There was a quiet kind of freedom waiting, something I had never learned to hold. I spent so long afraid of tomorrow, as if the past could follow where I'd go. But standing here beneath the early sunlight, I finally feel what I already know. Tomorrow looks like morning, soft and golden through the rain. There's no promise that it won't hurt, but I don't have to fear the change. Tomorrow looks like morning, and the road is open wide. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I know I'm gonna be alright. I packed my coat and left the door behind me. No photograph was waiting in my hand. The streets were waking slowly all around me, and somehow I could finally understand. Every place I thought I'd lost forever had left a little something in my soul. The love, the cities, all the roads behind me had somehow helped to make me whole. I don't need to call the past a mistake, I don't need to wish it all away. Some chapters gave me what I needed to become the person I am today. Tomorrow looks like morning, soft and golden through the rain. There's no promise that it won't hurt, but I don't have to feel the change. Don't know where I'm going yet, but I know I'm going to be alright. Maybe there will be another city, another window, another name. Maybe there will be another kind of love, maybe nothing will be the same. And that's the beauty of beginning, you don't have to know the ending first. You only need to take the next step and trust the road beneath your feet. Tomorrow looks like morning, and the darkness fades away. I can carry all I've learned with me without living in yesterday. Tomorrow looks like morning, the horizon opens wide. I don't know what is waiting for me, but I'm ready for the ride. The city filled with light around me. The first train disappeared beyond the trees. I walked into the morning without looking back, not because I had forgotten, but because I was finally free. Tomorrow looks like morning, and morning looks like me. Morning came through curtains we had chosen, soft and golden on the wooden floor. I woke before the city started moving, and listened for a sound that wasn't there anymore. The coffee cup was waiting by the window, a little crack still running through the side. I used to think that every empty space was proof that something beautiful had died. But sunlight doesn't ask what happened, it simply finds a way inside. For the first time in a long time, I didn't need to hide. Morning in a room we once shared, golden light falling everywhere. Your shadow isn't waiting by the door, and somehow I don't need it anymore. Morning in a room we once knew, the walls remember me and you, but I can breathe beneath this open sky and let yesterday quietly pass me by. I opened up the curtains to the garden. The city sounded softer than before. A stranger walked beneath the old balcony, and I watched the morning without keeping score. There were photographs inside the drawer still, a train ticket from a summer long ago. I held them for a moment in my fingers and put them back and let the memory go. Some things don't need an explanation, some chapters don't require a final line. You can honor what was once important and still decide to leave it behind. Morning in a room we once shared, golden light falling everywhere. Your shadow isn't waiting by the door, and somehow I don't need it anymore. sky and let yesterday quietly pass me by. Maybe healing isn't forgetting, maybe it's remembering without pain, letting every beautiful moment be beautiful without wanting it again. We were young beneath those summer curtains, we believed our story couldn't end. Now I wouldn't change the road behind me, because it brought me here in the end. Morning in a room we once shared, sunlight turning memories to air. The empty chair is only an empty chair, and I can leave it standing there. Morning in a room we once knew, I finally see the world in a different view. Some love remains without asking me to stay. Some memories become a softer kind of yesterday. The city opened slowly below me. The morning filled the room with gold. I closed the door and took my suitcase, not because I was running away, but because I was ready to go. The bell above the door still sounds the same. A little tired, but softer than before. The waiter looked at me and smiled politely, and pointed to the table by the door. I ordered what I used to order with you: black coffee, nothing sweet, no room to spare. For just a moment I expected your voice, and heard the quiet music in the air. The years had changed the faces, the city had moved on, but something in that little room still knew where I belonged. The cafe still knows my name, even though I came alone. The window still catches the evening light, the old piano plays our song. The cafe still knows my name, but it doesn't ask about you. Some memories can sit beside you without telling you what to do. The flowers on the counter had been replaced, photographs were different on the wall. A young couple laughed beside the window, and I remembered being young at all. You used to draw little circles on the table while I pretended not to watch your hand. We talked about the places we'd go someday, and thought that someday meant we'd understand. I used to think returning would bring the past alive. Instead I found a quiet place where both of us survived. memories can stay beautiful without becoming something new. Maybe that's what time is for, not erasing what we had, just teaching us to hold the good without becoming sad. You were part of who I became, and I won't pretend you weren't. But every road eventually turns, and every heart must learn. The cafe still knows my name. The evening settles soft and slow. I finish what is left of my coffee and watch the last commuters go. The cafe still knows my name, and somehow that feels enough. I can remember who we were together without wishing we were still in love. The bell above the door rang softly. The waiter wished me a good night. I stepped outside into the evening, and the city felt strangely bright. The cafe still knows my name, but now I know my own. I packed my clothes before the morning, 2 shirts, a coat, an old pair of shoes, then found a photograph beneath the lining, and suddenly I had too much to lose. There was a ticket from a distant summer, a hotel key that no longer opens doors, a faded note with 3 unfinished sentences, and memories I couldn't carry anymore. I thought I needed everything that made me who I was, but some things only weigh you down because you never let them go. A suitcase full of yesterday, too heavy for another train. I carried every word we never said, every photograph, every little pain. A suitcase full of yesterday. I finally know what I must leave. Not every memory needs a place beside me. Not everything I loved must stay with me. I found the scarf you wore that autumn, still carrying a little of your perfume. I held it underneath the morning sunlight, then folded it and left it in the room. There was a postcard from the coast of Lisbon, a promise that we'd return there someday. I used to think a promise meant forever. Now I know some dreams just change their shape. The past can be a beautiful country, but you cannot live there every night. Sometimes the only way to keep a memory is to finally let it out of sight. A suitcase full of yesterday, too heavy for another train. I carried every word we never said, every photograph, every little pain. A suitcase full of yesterday. I finally know what I must leave. Not every memory needs a place beside me. Not everything I loved must stay with me. So I left the old key on the table, put the photograph back in the drawer, kept one letter not because because I don't regret what came before. We were real and we were young. We were everything we knew. I don't have to carry all of that to remember loving you. A suitcase full of yesterday, now lighter than it was before. I kept the lessons and the laughter and left the weight beside the door. Suitcase full of yesterday, when follow me into the dawn. Some memories can travel in the heart without coming along. The train arrived beneath the morning. I took my seat and watched the city fade. For once, I had room inside my suitcase and room inside my heart for something new to stay. I found the last photograph this morning, hidden underneath a stack of old receipts. The colors had begun to fade around us, but I could still remember where we'd been. You were standing in the autumn sunlight. Your hair was moving softly in the wind. I remember thinking in that moment that nothing beautiful could ever end. But time doesn't ask permission, it simply turns the page. And sometimes what we thought was forever becomes a picture in a frame. After the last photograph, what remains when the pictures fade? 1,000 little moments in the silence, and all the promises we made after the last photograph. I don't need to look behind. Some memories become a part of you, then quietly release your mind. There were photographs from distant cities, a rainy street, a station in the snow. Your face appeared in every kind of weather, a version of a life I used to know. I used to keep them by the bedside, as if they could somehow make you stay. Now they rest inside an old wooden box, and I don't open it every day. Maybe letting go is not forgetting. Maybe it's a different kind of grace, knowing you can love what once was yours without needing to retrace. After the last photograph, what remains when the pictures fade? The laughter, all the quiet conversations, and the choices that we made after the last photograph. I can finally see the truth. We don't have to stay inside our memories to honor who we were in youth. If I could speak to that younger version, I'd tell him not to fear the end. Some beautiful things are temporary, just because it once felt right. Sometimes love is knowing when to close the album and walk into the light. After the last photograph, the room feels warmer than before. I leave the old box where I found it and don't reach for it anymore. After the last photograph, there's an empty page ahead. Not a story that needs rewriting, just a place for something new instead. The afternoon moved across the window, turning dust to little stars of gold. I put the photograph back in its box, and for the first time I didn't need to hold it. The station looked the same beneath the morning. The old departure board was turning slow. I bought a ticket without asking where it led me. For once, I didn't need to know. My suitcase felt a little lighter beside me. No photographs were hidden in the seams. The platform filled with strangers going somewhere, each one carrying a different kind of dream. I used to watch the trains departing, wondering who they took away. Now I'm standing on the other side, and I don't need a reason to stay. The train was going somewhere new, and for once I wanted to go too. No ghosts waiting at the station, no old promises to pull me through. The train was going somewhere new, past the cities that I already knew. I didn't know what waited for me, but I knew I wasn't running from you. The countryside appeared beyond the windows, green fields turning slowly into gold. A river followed us for several miles, then disappeared beneath the road. I watched the towns become a line of colors, churches, rooftops, gardens, morning rain. For the first time, every passing landscape wasn't measured by what we had once been. Maybe leaving isn't always losing. Maybe roads can teach the heart to breathe. Sometimes you have to cross the distance to discover what you're ready to believe. The train was going somewhere new, and the morning opened into blue. Every mile decide what comes next for you. I don't know the name of the next station, I don't know who I'll meet when I arrive, but uncertainty feels almost like a doorway. And for once, I'm not afraid to step inside. Maybe there will be another love story, maybe there will only be my own. Either way, the road is waiting, and I don't have to walk it alone. The train was going somewhere new, through the morning, bright and clear. I left the weight of yesterday behind me, but kept the lessons that brought me here. The train was going somewhere new, and the tracks kept moving on. For the first time, I wasn't looking backward, I was watching for the dawn. The conductor called the final station. The doors open to a town I'd never known. I stepped outside with nothing promised, and somehow it felt like home. I passed the street where we once lived together. The same old trees were moving in the rain. For years I thought that every passing season would bring me back to something I couldn't name. I saw the window glowing in the evening, the curtains moving softly in the light. Once that view could break my heart completely. Tonight, I simply wished it well tonight. I used to hear you in the silence, in every song, in every empty room. But time has changed the shape of your memory and made a little space for something new. Your memory doesn't hurt anymore, it only visits like a passing rain. I can remember how I loved you without reliving all the pain. Your memory doesn't hurt anymore, it doesn't ask me to turn around. I can hear your name inside a song and let it disappear into the sound. I found your letter in an old suitcase, the paper soft from years of being kept. I read the words we thought would last forever, and smiled at how sincerely we had meant them. There was no anger waiting in the margins, no unfinished war between the lines. Just two people trying to understand love before they understood the passing of time. Some memories lose their sharpest edges, some photographs become a softer light. I don't need to change the story anymore. It was beautiful because it was our life. Your memory doesn't hurt anymore. It only visits like a passing ray. I can remember how I loved you without reliving all the pain. Your memory doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't ask me to turn around. I can hear your name inside a song and let it disappear into the sound. Maybe healing isn't closing every door. Maybe some are meant to stay unlocked, not so you can walk back through them, but so you don't have to fear the thought. You were a chapter, not the whole book, a road that taught me how to see. And somewhere between goodbye and morning, I became more myself than I used to be. Your memory doesn't hurt anymore. It feels like winter turning into spring. I can look at all we left behind us and still be grateful for everything. Your memory doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't follow where I go. Some loves become a quiet kind of wisdom, something beautiful we carry as we grow. I walk beneath the evening streetlights. The rain had finally disappeared. Your memory walked beside me for a moment. Then the road turned forward, and you weren't there. And I was okay, and I was okay. I came back on a cold November morning. The same old station, the same familiar street. The buildings wore the colors I remembered, but somehow everything felt incomplete. I passed the cafe where we used to meet there. The window still reflected golden light. I stopped for just a moment by the doorway, then kept on walking through the night. The city hadn't changed its face, but I had changed beneath the years. The streets that once contained my sadness now look smaller than my fears. doesn't tell me where to go. I'm a different man in the same city, and I don't need to disappear. The past can live inside these buildings without controlling why I'm here. The park was almost empty after sunset. The trees were turning silver in the rain. I found the bench beneath the old chestnut, where we once promised we'd remain. I sat there without searching for an answer, without wondering where you might have been. For once the silence didn't feel like absence. It felt like space to breathe again. The city hadn't learned my story. It never needed to know. I had spent too many years explaining what I was finally ready to let go. I'm a different man in the same city, walking streets I used to know. Every corner holds a memory, but it doesn't tell me where to go. I'm a different man in the same city, and I don't need to disappear. The past can live inside these buildings without controlling why I'm here. Maybe we don't leave our old lives behind us. Maybe we learn to carry them with grace. The person I was still lives somewhere, but he no longer needs to take my place. I can remember every road we traveled, every night beneath the city lights, and still choose a different direction when the morning opens wide. I'm a different man in the same city, and the streets don't feel so small. I can walk beneath the same old windows without waiting for your call. I'm a different man in the same city, the same rain falling through the trees. Nothing here belongs to yesterday now, not even the man I used to be. The morning came across the rooftops. The city slowly filled with sound. I walked towards streets I'd never noticed, and finally understood. Sometimes you don't need a new city to become someone new. I found the old apartment in the evening, the windows glowing softly through the rain. I thought I'd feel the weight of what we lost there, but all I felt was sunlight after pain. The hallway still remembered our footsteps. The wooden floor still creaked beneath my shoes. I stood beside the door we used to close behind us and realized I had nothing left to lose. Some endings leave a shadow, some leave a little light. I spent so long afraid of both until I understood tonight. We left a light behind us, burning somewhere in the past. Not a promise that would last forever, just a moment beautiful enough to last. We left a light behind us, and it still knows where we've been. I don't have to turn around to see it. I can carry what was good within. There were mornings when the room was golden, and evenings when the city disappeared. We didn't know those ordinary moments would become the memories we held most dear. You taught me how to notice little things, the rain against the glass, the morning train. Even now when sunlight crosses my window, I sometimes hear you whisper through the rain. Maybe love doesn't vanish, it changes shape with time. What once belonged to both of us can become a part of mine. We left a light behind us, burning somewhere in the past. Not a promise that would last forever, just a moment beautiful enough to last. We left a light behind us, and it still knows where we've been. I don't have to turn around to see it. I can carry what was good within. I used to think that losing you meant losing everything we knew, but some roads leave you stronger, and some goodbyes make room for something new. I won't erase the years we had together, I won't pretend they didn't make me who I am. There was beauty in the life we once imagined, and there's beauty in the life I have again. We left a light behind us, and now I see it from afar. It isn't asking me to go back, it's simply showing me how far I've come. We left a light behind us, a little warmth beneath the rain. I can thank the past for what it gave me without needing it again. The evening settled on the rooftops, the last light faded from the sky. I closed the door without regret this time, and walked toward the morning with the light still in